Welcome back to the Boneyard podcast, everybody. This is your host, Jared Shepard, along with my good friend,
Josh.
Know the Soul, knowledgeable.
Notice so.
How we doing, my friend?
Doing great, doing great. How you doing, Jared?
I'm good, man. I know we took a week off. It was much needed. It was a good time to kind of connect. We were able to connect as a podcast, and the whole team that's behind the scenes was able to get together and kind of plan out our year a little bit. So it was good. It was a good break, much needed. And then also, of course, the snowstorm that came through and wreaked havoc. I use that loosely across the state of North Carolina. Did y'all get much snow up there near Raleigh?
We got snow, but then about 3 o'clock, it was raining, like just a pure rain, not even a freezing rain, not sleet, just a straight waterworks. And by the time everybody woke up, you had either ice or nothing. So, yeah. Did you guys get much?
Yeah, we got probably, I'd say about 3 to 5 inches of snow. And then ice, and it iced over. Like my driveway is still half ice. I mean, it's where we parked the truck, so it's not getting much sunlight during the day. I probably just need to move the truck and put it on the street for a day.
Honestly,
And
yeah.
I got a snowman in the front yard. He's wearing a cowboy hat. So yeah, I mean, definitely let my neighbors know. Like, we know how to do snow here in the Shaffett household. I drug my daughter around in a laundry basket. Just some redneck ingenuity. We didn't have a sled. We didn't have like anything ready for her. So I tied some rope. I had some rope in the truck and tied it to a laundry basket and drug her around.
Hey, if it works, it works. The kids have fun. They scream, they yell, they bother the old folks. Circle of life.
That's for damn sure. Yeah, it was. I was having cabin fever. I was like, I got to get out of this household. If you know me, you know I'm not somebody that can just sit at home and like not do anything, not go out, not go anywhere. I got to get somewhere. I got to like see people. Maybe not necessarily talk to people, but I got to see them. I got to I can't just sit in the four walls of my house all day long. I go stir crazy, but good, man. It's good. We're into the thick of things. I guess this is the second episode of the Boneyard podcast. This year, in the year 2025, episode 226. Josh, you got a 26?
I do have a 26. This number 26 is probably the most under the radar GOAT of basketball, because no one ever talks about anything that this man ever did. Maybe it's because he didn't win a championship. Maybe because he wasn't a first round pick in the 2003 draft when LeBron James
Kyle
was.
Korver.
Who?
Is it Kyle Korver? No.
It is.
It is.
It is. The current, I believe, assistant GM. Yeah, assistant GM with the Atlanta Hawks, Kyle Korver.
A-Town.
Almost 12,000 total points in a 17-year career. I mean, 2 finals appearances, 2015 All-Star, just all around great player. 4 times led the league in 3-point percentage. So, I mean, his last time was 2017 when that very well could have been Steph or Clay, like that's,
yeah,
he was really that guy. So numbers retired with Creighton, just a storied career, great player.
Look, I don't even watch basketball like that, but as soon as you started talking about the two, I thought he was younger than that. Like, I don't know why I thought I didn't realize Kyle Korver basically had a 17, 18-year career in the NBA.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, nobody remembers him before 2012 when he got to Atlanta.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I don't watch NBA like that. I've tried to get into it at times, and it's I don't have enough time to give a crap about the NBA. But as somebody that is an Atlanta sports fan, I know Kyle Korver, and I knew exactly who you were going with when you said one of the more underrated like basketball players, really in general. I mean, he had a good career.
Yeah.
Not Hall of Fame worthy, but a good solid career. So cool. That's a good one. I am also going to kind of go off. I may have done this one before. I don't know. It's a guy. He played for the Braves. He had a, I believe, 32 game hit streak at one point when he was with the Braves. Former second baseman Dan Ugla. That hit streak. I was at the game where that hit streak started. I was at that game. I remember he was batting like 175. And then on July 5th, I want to say it was 2011, just exploded and had a hit in 32 straight games. So, I mean, which is still, what's that, 24 games shy of the record set by Joe DiMaggio, the 56 game hitting streak.
That wasn't real.
There's a lot of records in baseball that I think, okay, those aren't real, but
those aren't real.
I
Those are folk tales told from time to time. Those records are not real. Provide the proof. We had cameras. Even if it's a still from every single game. I need one still photograph from every single game that it happened at. Doesn't have to be the hit. I just need one still from every single game it happened at. Can't find it. Didn't happen.
I don't know, man. I gotta think that was real. I'm not like, and just think he was doing this all while like being married to Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
What a life. The one I don't know if it's real. I don't know if I trust the numbers on Babe Ruth. I don't. I mean, he was good for Boston. If I remember correctly, he was good for Boston. And then of course they basically gave him to the Yankees, and of course that starts the curse. But like, are we really going to believe that this man hit 703 home runs while also being like an elite pitcher? I'm not buying it.
It was a different day and age. It was a different day and age.
The thing with the guys back in those days, they were playing against guys that were plumbers, and they just, had day jobs. You probably had an actuary in there. You got your accountant in there. You got you got somebody that sells milk. You got the milkman playing second base. Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're fake. I think there's some fudged up. I mean, Babe.
It's New York. It's New York. That's all you got to say. It's New York. The numbers of New York don't make sense.
Yeah.
It's New York.
I just a 56 game hitting streak. That's because I mean they had radio back then.
Exactly.
So like there had to have been.
Where's the broadcast? Where's the radio broadcast?
It's there somewhere.
From game 55. I need it.
It's got to be there somewhere.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Speaking of another 26, Darryl Strawberry wore number 26 at one point. Doing some crazy stuff in the dugout, and also being a elite MLB player. So, cool. Well, Josh, glad to have you on. Artie is under the weather, so it's just the two of us this week. We're gonna do a shorter episode this week, not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, we're still a month away from ECU baseball getting kicked off and from first pitch, I guess you could say. So as we get closer and closer to baseball season, we'll start ramping up the baseball content. We're going to talk a little bit of basketball, some other Olympic sports, and then that's gonna be about it. Josh, what's going on with this basketball team, man? Like this team, everybody wants to hate on them, and I get it. Like they haven't played well. They've lost to some bad teams, but then they do this thing where they're in these games that they should have no shot at being in, and they just can't find a way to finish it out. Now, I mean, the fact that they went on the road at Memphis, and what was it? They lost, was it 2? Was that the game that they lost by 2, or was that 4? I couldn't remember if that was the 2 or 4 game, but I mean, still, you go on the road, hostile environment. You haven't been playing well over the last 4 or 5 weeks, okay? Like you just haven't. And then you take number 19 to the brink. I mean, you had opportunities there late to take a lead and kind of ice that game away. Same thing goes with the game last night against North Texas. You had a lead fairly late in the game. They storm back, and then you lose by 9. What needs to change with this team, Josh?
You know, I actually took the privilege of listening to assistant coach Riley give the post game press conference last night, I guess it was. Schwartz is a little under the weather. Still coached the game, but he is under the weather, so hope he gets better quickly. And Coach Riley was very adamant about just they're doing the right things, just not consistently enough. That right now they're like 130 something in offensive efficiency, and basically you make 2 more threes a game.
Hell, is Donnie Kirkpatrick running the offense?
like you. Well, there's like 330 Division I teams though. So
I know that. I know. I thought it was a good chance to throw Donnie Kirkpatrick out in there.
But it's like all you need is 2 threes a game, and all of a sudden you're in the top 100. Like it's not like the team is doing poorly. They just have to put it together for the entirety of a game. And we can't keep having 8-minute scoreless droughts throughout the game. Like we just can't keep doing it.
And that's been the problem with East Carolina basketball, really, for the last, as long as I can remember, is every single game there's a 6, 7, 8-minute scoreless drought where the other team goes on a 12-0 run, 18-0 run, and you're like, okay, well, the game was close, and now it's not. Now we got to scrap and claw back into this game, and you just can never get it done. I don't know. And the thing about the offense efficiency, I mean, there's been several games where free throws haven't been great, but the 3-point percentage, and why are we taking so many 3-point shots? Like, I get it. That's the age of basketball now. But when you are so good on the glass, get the ball inside and battle for points. It feels like at times when we feel like we're maybe outsized, when we're overmatched when it comes to like size down low. Look, we're just gonna keep it on the perimeter and we're gonna shoot threes. Yeah, well, when you are 1 for 8 from 3-point range, you got to change it up. You can't have. You can't just be that bad, because then all that does is it brings the defense closer to the goal, because they're like, okay, we don't need to guard them shooting threes. Like they're not going to make it anyways.
Right. And the other thing is ECU is only averaging like 12 assists a game, I'm pretty sure. So when you have 11 assists in one half and you see that you can be in the game with anybody and be leading the game against North Texas, like, you got to start following the trends. Like, if that's what's working, that's what's working. And sometimes you gotta let go of ego. You gotta let go of self, and you gotta buy into what the team is for you to be successful. It's not. I mean, the whole team has to be successful for you to be successful. And it's just, I don't know where the disconnect of camaraderie on the court is. I don't know what the locker room's like. I don't know what any of the athletes are like out, anywhere. But I'm just saying, on the court, it's like it doesn't look like there's that cohesive team that's working towards a common goal.
Yeah, and we said it. I'm trying to think. I guess it was probably 2 years ago now. I mean, it was either 2 years ago or last year when ECU had a lot of talent, a ton of talent. And you had guys that would go off, and it was a different guy each night, right? It seemed like, yeah, you weren't always getting the results you wanted, but it seemed like each night it was a different guy going off with a 20-point night or a 15-point night with 12 rebounds or something like having double doubles all over the place. Now, I don't think this team has its identity. And I think that part of that is you have so much turnover from year to year on this team, and it's been that way since Joe Dooley was here, right? Like it's been that way where ECU basketball just seems like a revolving door of bring guys in, guys leave, bring guys in, guys leave. And it's not like they're going anywhere like spectacular. I mean, you've had a couple, like you think about like the Tristan Newtons of the world, right? But you haven't had somebody that comes in and then they stay and then they're a superstar. You can come be a superstar at ECU and do well, right? I mean, RJ Felton's the closest thing we got to that right now. But when you're on a team that plays as poorly as ECU, it's not hard to be the best player on the court.
Right.
I'll say the fact that they've been in these games against the top three teams in the conference. Look, you've played the toughest stretch of basketball that you're going to play the rest of the year. These last 4 games, that's the toughest stretch of basketball you're going to play the rest of the year. Now you need to go string some wins together. At least try to increase your seeding going into the tournament. Look, I'm not saying that ECU is going to win a tournament this year. I don't think anybody's. I don't. It's hard for me to say that anybody's going to beat Memphis or North Texas in the conference tournament this year. But I don't know. At least have some pride and try to make a run somewhere. Let me ask you, Josh. Is Schwartz on the hot seat? I think we talked about last podcast. Is Mike Schwartz on the hot seat? If not, what do you think puts him in the hot seat? Like, at what point do we say, okay, maybe we need to switch something up? I guess the problem is who would want this job?
And I was gonna say I don't think Schwartz is on the hot seat for 2 reasons. One, to just let the contract play out. Just let the rest of the contract play out. And the thing is that because he was such a good assistant, there's no telling if another school comes in and offers him an assistant job that he's not going to take it. Like, just ride the wave into the sunset on this one. And after next year, let RJ go out and don't let it be like a full regime change. Like, see if we need, like just a little bit more continuation, see if we can get better next year. I mean, what's honestly my thing is what's what is ECU missing by getting a new coach next year? Like, I don't think ECU basketball benefits with the new coach next year. I just personally don't.
What I guess my thought it something has to change at some point if ECU ever wants to be relevant in the sport of basketball. And when I say relevant, I mean making a tournament here and there. Right? I don't ever expect ECU to be a top 25 basketball school. I don't ever expect that. It would be fantastic to have that. I before the days of NIL, Josh, I used to say there's 3 ways to get good in college basketball and really college athletics as a whole. One, you're just a blue blood, right? You're the Carolinas, the Kentuckys, the Kansas, the Dukes of the world, right? You're those schools. 2, you're the Wichita States or the Florida Gulf Coast or the Cinderella team that has a miraculous run, UMBC, right? Loyola Chicago. You're one of those schools, Florida Atlantic, that has a miracle run to Elite 8 or Final 4, and you get some notoriety, and you're able to keep those athletes in, and you just have a Cinderella season, and you build off of it there. You're not a blue blood, but you're consistently in the top 50 teams in the country. You're gonna make a conference, or you're gonna make the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Lastly, you cheat. We've seen it time and time again. Larry Brown, I mean, one of the greatest cheaters in college basketball history. You look at Carolina; they were cheating all over the place back in the day. Duke used to send their students. The Duke basketball players didn't go to Duke; they went to North Carolina Central, and they took one class at Duke, so they were able to play basketball for Duke back in the day. That's just how you do it, and you deal with the recruiting violations, and you hope that reason 3 gets you to reason 2, and reason 2 just kind of keeps on snowballing into a bigger thing. But if you're not doing any of that, and you don't have anybody that's like actually putting in effort outside of like building the brand, you're never going to be successful in the world of college basketball.
Right. And honestly, I'm going to say this every time we talk about basketball, every time we talk about football. I just, in my mind, as someone who's never had to recruit a high school athlete before, I just don't know why we can't keep the talent home. Like, there's so much talent right outside of the doors of ECU.
Because those guys are going down the road to the NC States, the Wake Forest, even the Dukes and Carolinas. They're going there. They're going to South Carolina. They're not wanting to stay home after leaving Farmville Central and play at East Carolina.
But my selling point would be much like how John Calipari was. Just come in here, ball out for a year, make it the East Carolina All-Star team, basically. Like the best players from the region. Come ball out for a year and leave. That's fine. That's fine. Get your tape, but come here, have success, be home where the people who know you can celebrate you still, right? And it benefits everybody. It benefits the student athlete for the most part, if they don't have issues at home, things like that they're trying to get away from. But it benefits the school because now you got all these people who are coming into the games. Like, I don't know.
I think that the selling point, and here's the problem. ECU can find a diamond in the rough every couple of years. They do it all the time. They find a diamond in the rough every couple of years, and that player is maybe they're undersized. They're a good shooter, but once again, they're a diamond in the rough. Like they weren't highly recruited. My thing is if you can't keep them here, these guys, and it's kind of what's going on with RJ, be the guy. Like you could go play at NC State and have a decent career and still not make the NBA. But you could be a 3-year starter, 4-year starter at NC State and not make the NBA. And hey, you're just another name. You're just another number. Like, okay, nobody's gonna think of you like you were the guy. Come to ECU and be that guy. I'm not saying you're gonna be the Michael Jordan of East Carolina, but come be that guy. Be that Steph Curry of Davidson, right? Be that guy. Don't you want to be that guy? Like the guy that they're like, oh shit, that's the guy that put that team on the map. Like if you could land, like you don't want to just be another 5-star guy going to a school and get lost in the mix. Come be that guy. If we've seen anything in the world of sports, if you have talent, the scouts will find you and you will play at the next level. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter. If you have talent and you're talented enough to play at the next level, you will be found.
I think part of why we're in the situation that we are with the way that the team works together is because we're going for too many of be that guys.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we don't have it's not like we don't have athletes who have proven themselves other places. Like they can do it. It's a matter of doing it it's about having the right reasons for doing it. And I think honestly, I mean, be the guy, but we only need one at a time. We only need one at a time. Like
yeah. So Josh, I started Ted Lasso this past week. I never watched this team needs season 1 Ted Lasso to help them figure themselves out. They have no idea. They have no identity. Nobody know, it doesn't seem like they're playing as a team.
Right.
But anyways, we can move off of ECU basketball. Women's basketball is back in the hot seat. What's going on with women's basketball?
Women's basketball, they pulled off a really good home win to end the losing streak. So against Tulane, fun fact, Tulane's head coach is the head coach for the Nigerian women's national team. So she coached in the Olympics. And she back at Tulane, great coaching staff over there at Tulane. But ECU somehow was able to pull that off. And I was a little surprised, honestly. A little surprised we hadn't been playing our best. And then tonight we went down to Charlotte and we handled business one more time, defeating the 49ers. So little sis. I think women's basketball may have found their groove.
Don't let this team get hot. They can compete.
They're always going to going to compete.
This is one of those teams that, once again, you don't want to see them in the conference tournament. And look, I think that there's a true story behind peaks and valleys throughout the course of a season, any season in sports. Whether it's professional or collegiate, whatever, I think they're maybe outside of football because there's not as many games. But when you play so many games, there are going to be peaks and there's going to be valleys, and you want to peak right at the right time. Now, if you can start getting hot and building momentum going into February and into mid to late February, and then you go into the conference tournament hot, nobody wants to see ECU.
Nobody. And I think ECU is poised to do great things, especially if they can pull off the next win at Rice. Right now,
It's a big one.
Rice's 65% chance of winning based on ESPN. They are 9-8 overall, 2-3. ECU is also 2-3, but we are 10-7 overall. I think this game will kind of help us know, like, okay, like, you know, if even if it's just a close game, we were able to play it close, we were able to stay at a game, and then we get to host Temple, who has already beaten us at their place. So I think those two games will kind of set us up to see how the rest of this conference play is gonna shake out for ECU women's basketball.
Yeah, I mean ECU currently, I think maybe I'm not looking at the right standings. That said 8th in the standings, but I don't think that was right because it didn't have any conference record.
Yeah, we're 8th.
Okay, it didn't have the conference record in there, so I wasn't sure. Overall, I mean, I think I have faith in this team to kind of turn it around, and find their stride. Look, now the number one team in the conference, 14-2, UTSA is about to go down. They're down 2 right now with just under 2 minutes left to Memphis. So there's a little bit more parity.
Memphis?
Yeah. Memphis, who is
3-12.
Yeah, they're 3-12. UTSA is 14-2, and I'm pretty sure that game's at UTSA.
Frauds.
Yeah. So
check the non-conference.
we can. Let's take a no. That game's at Memphis. Excuse me. Memphis is up 3.
But they're 5-0 in conference too, though.
I mean, UTSA, their losses are to Texas A&M and Stanford.
So this is legit. Okay. Well,
yeah, I mean, not
good
bad.
job, Memphis. Good job, Memphis. I mean,
good on you. Good on you. All right. Anything else on women's basketball?
Yeah, just a petition to move the American Athletic Conference Championship for men's and women's basketball to the great state of North Carolina. Greensboro Coliseum, I heard, is probably still available. We can support Asheville by going to UNC Asheville and hosting it there. We can go to Charlotte. You know, heard they got an NBA team. We can even do it in Raleigh. Heard they got a professional hockey stadium that we could swap with.
Yeah, but that's also a college basketball stadium that you.
Hey, it's not a college. They let college basketball happen.
Look, Josh, you won't find somebody that agrees more. No, really, the American. I mean, they're gonna. Where is it? Fort Worth.
Yeah,
it's at Dickies Arena. I think that's in Fort Worth.
Yeah, but they didn't renew the contract.
That's where Dallas, Fort Worth is where the headquarters of the American Athletic Conference are. I get it. I still the most egregious one to me is the fact that the baseball tournament is in Clearwater, Florida. That's the most egregious one to me.
Yeah.
Like
there's so many places you can have it. That's not Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, hell, move it around. Move it around. Bring it to Greenville. Just have it in Greenville. Like,
That is a great idea. That is a great idea. I say this instead. The Mudcats won't be using Zebulon anymore. Have it there, right outside of Raleigh. I mean, you're east of Raleigh. You know.
Hell, have it at the ACC's what in Charlotte? Have it
Yeah.
at DBAP.
Yeah. Which is AAA. You know. I mean, that's look. Hey, there's options. Have it in Norfolk.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Norfolk is there's it you don't really have any schools in Virginia to warrant that, right? I get like Florida, like you have Florida Atlantic, you have USF, like okay, no, have it, and I get the reason they do it in Florida. They do it in Florida because the coaches like it, the players like it. I get it. It's warm. I mean, granted, it's Memorial Day weekend most years, right? That's when the conference baseball tournament is. Have it, like I said, have it at a different stadium. I get you've got contracts, but you can do it somewhere else. You could very well do it at you could very well do it at one of the many minor league stadiums across the Southeast. It's just nobody goes. The only people that go are ECU fans. So if you want more people to go and want at least somewhat of an atmosphere, have it in North Carolina where ECU fans are, because we're going to be the ones that fill it out anyways, because nobody else has a fan base with that sport. Not a single team has a fan base. So put it at DBAP.
Yeah. I agree. Have it somewhere closer to where the good teams are.
I wouldn't mind Greensboro for the for the conference tournament. The only thing is there's so much ACC history. I think they want to be outside of that shadow.
Yeah,
that's a college basketball stadium too. They're getting a professional hockey team back in Greensboro. They announced the name yesterday, the Gargoyles.
We're running out of ideas, aren't we?
The host of the Spin Chicklets podcast on Barstool have purchased that team. They're part owners of that team, so it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it. I'm gonna go to quite a bit of those games. ECHL. All right, what's next? We got some track and field to talk about. This girl is like lighting it up.
She is. Her career. She is the truth. Kelly. I think they call her Kelly Yu. I think that's what her nickname has been.
I don't think I could pronounce the last name.
I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna be disrespectful. But she is a star among stars right now. She set the ECU women's record in the 60 meter and 200 meter in her first event as a Pirate. And she won. She won, I believe the 60 meter was what, yeah, pretty sure it was the 60 meter. She won a race in her first collegiate track meet at Clemson at that. I mean, this is going to be, I really just hope that she stays all 4 years. She won in the 200 meter, correct? She won in the 200 meter. But it's just, I'm really impressed with this team. You know, having a new coach sometimes will do something like that. Having a new coach might do something like that. So ECU won 6 events at this invitational, tied or broke 3 program records. As you heard, Kelly had 2 of them, and 14 changes were made to top 10 lists in Pirates program history. So lots of good stuff happening right now with track and field.
Not a bad start to the season.
Not a bad start at all.
Nice. All right, well, Josh, let's talk a little bit about baseball. I know we were just talking about the conference tournament in baseball being moved or should be moved. It's just terrible that it's in Clearwater. ECU baseball, for the first time in a while, not ranked in the preseason top 25 by D1 baseball. I'll say this. You got to go out and prove it, right? Like, this team is on the cusp. This team could still very well be a very talented team and win a lot of ball games this year. You have in the sport of baseball, you got some new rules that are going into effect with like roster limits and whatnot, but also you got 31 new faces on this roster.
Right.
The turnover is absolutely wild on this roster. So I get that, hey, this team may be one of the most talented teams on paper that ECU has had in a long time, and they're young, right? But they're unproven. This team is unproven. And I get it. And look, you don't have to there's plenty of time to move up in the sport of baseball. And you're going to have chances to take down some big names or highly ranked teams when you play schools like UNC, NC State, Duke. You're going to play those teams. You're going to play a Virginia Tech from the ACC. You're going to play these schools and have a shot to like make a run. You're going to play the Campbells. You're going to play the UNCWs. You're going to play Coastal Carolina. So you're going to play a bunch of teams that have history, that have performed well in the past, and you're still going to have a fairly good chance at boosting your RPI throughout the season. Hopefully we don't run into the same things that we ran into last year, where even when you win a conference game, your RPI drops. I think ECU has a good shot. I think they still end in the top 25 this year, but they're just not starting there. Are we? I get that the sense around Pirate Nation is there some people that are upset, but there are some people that aren't. Josh, how are you feeling?
I'm not upset at all. I'm not upset at all because I understand that preseason means nothing. Preseason is all about expectations and hype.
Look, NC State was a preseason top 15, top 20 team in football this year. They finished 6-7 with a loss to East Carolina. Right? UNC, preseason top 15 in basketball. They're nowhere to be found.
Florida State.
Talking about, we got gypped out of the college football playoff last year. Okay, you turn around and go 2-10.
Yeah. So preseason, I get it. You got to have a baseline, got to start somewhere. To me, my personal belief with all rankings is that they should not start until at least week 4 or
Agreed.
about a third into a season, when you actually understand what a team is and you've seen what a team can do, what they can't do, where they perform well, where they like you can actually rank them. It is what it is,
That the reason we have preseason rankings is so that people like us and people around the country can talk about those rankings, because there's nothing else to talk about. At the end of the day, the preseason rankings don't mean jack squat. The problem with preseason rankings is that we weight them like they're gold, right? You weight them. Look at football. I mean, Alabama, they finished 9-4 on the year? Were they 9-4, 8-5?
9-4.
9-4. They finished 9-4 on the year with a loss to a honestly not very good Michigan team in the bowl game. And I get you're gonna say, oh well, the bowl game doesn't matter, yada yada yada. I get that. Bowl games don't matter. But with that, you could you could make a case that they weren't a top 25 team. They finished in the top 25 because of where they were ranked preseason and because they only had 4 losses. That's why they finished in the top 25. If you were to stop ranking teams in the preseason and just go into it, like why do we have a team ranked in number 1? I get, okay, they won the national championship last year. They didn't have much turnover on their roster. They're going to be good. I get that, but at the same time, you got to line it up and play. Why are we doing this before the season? It's always irked me because once again, you give a team the number 1 ranking in the country, and then they go out and start 0-2, or they lose their first game of the season, and you're like, oh shit, what's going on? Or were they, should they have been ranked there? But they only fall to number 7 because, hey, that team was actually we didn't rank that team that beat them high enough. That's a really good team. Now that team's in the top 25 because they have 1 win over the number 1 team in the country, and they're like, okay, that team's in the top 25. When really that team that was ranked number 1 just isn't good. And I'm using number 1. Usually number 1's really good, but you've got these top 5 teams that they're frauds. There's frauds in the top 5 all the time.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I say hold off on the rankings. Hold off on the rankings.
The media will never allow that. The media will never allow the rankings not to be there preseason. But like, then you get into the conversation of, okay, if you beat a team and they're in the top 25, but later in the season they're not in the top 25, do you count that as a top 25 win?
It's based on the ranking at the time.
Right. So Northern Illinois beats Notre Dame. They're in the top 25. Had Notre Dame fallen out later on, of course we know where Notre Dame is now. If Notre Dame had fallen out at the time, you're looking at you're really looking at a team that should have been out of the top 25 then. If you lose to Northern Illinois, you should probably be out of the top 25. Let's be honest. But I don't know. I don't know. We give too much weight to these rankings.
And I'll just add this, that even in the D1 baseball ranking, there are 8 teams in the top 25 that were not ranked in the final 2024 rankings by them. And the highest of those teams who was not ranked last season, at the end of last season, is LSU at number 3. But Arkansas, who was number 17, is now number 5. Tennessee, who was number 1 last year, is number 4. Like, you got to put them somewhere. You got to put the team somewhere, but we can wait. We can wait.
Hey, I think this is good. Look, Cliff Godwin talks about the rat poison. This year he can point to this and say, look, they don't believe in you. Nobody around the country believes in you. We know what we got in this locker room. Let's go out and let's make a run. Let's show them what Pirate baseball is. Prove we ain't going nowhere, and do it that way. I think. I just think that's what you got to do. I'm not upset by it. It's kind of jarring to see that, hey, they're not in the top 25, but give it a couple weeks. I think they'll be there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You go in and you take 2 out of 3 against Carolina. You beat NC State, and then let's say you take two out of 3 against Carolina, take both against NC State and split with Duke, you're a top 25 team. You just are. And then you win the conference, you're probably looking at potentially hosting. But we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm all right. I'm all right with not having the target on our back and being that kind of under the radar team for once.
Yeah. Even though our conference foes won't see it that way.
That's fine. They know who Daddy is. That's fine. But let the country sleep. Let the country sleep. All right, Josh. Walk the plank. You got one?
I don't have one. I do not.
All right, I've got two. They're kind of the same. It's grown middle to old age white men in the state of Pennsylvania that are Pittsburgh Penguins fans and Philadelphia Eagles fans. Really, just two guys. It's just two guys. I'm not going to generalize the whole fan bases off of these two guys, but the state of Pennsylvania had two of the most atrocious fan interactions that I've seen in a while. Now, granted, maybe they're not fights that we've seen in NFL stadiums and NBA stadiums recently, but it's the way that these guys handled themselves and the people that they attacked. I'm sure everybody by now has seen the video of Ryan Caldwell, the Philadelphia Eagles fan, absolutely berating a Green Bay Packers fan, a woman and her fiance, absolutely laying into them, and with just fueled by expletives and misogynistic comments. Ryan has been fired from his job. So kudos to his company for doing the right thing. You just can't say the things that he said to an innocent bystander. So that's one. Ryan, walk the damn plank. I don't know the second guy's name, but also in the state of Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, on the other side of the state, at a Penguins game. Josh, have you seen the video of the Penguins fan?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So basically, the story. Like I said, I don't know this guy's name. I believe he was escorted out, but a puck goes into the net behind, like over the glass into the net behind the goal, and this. I think he looked like maybe a early teenager. He looked like he was maybe 13, 14. It was a kid, right? Like at that age, you're still a kid and you still want a puck. You still want to be like, oh, I got a puck from a NHL game, or I got a ball from an NHL or MLB game, whatever. You're still young enough that's where people are like, okay, that's cool, right? The kid is banging on the glass trying to get the puck to fall from the net. Common, very common around the league. The puck finally falls out of the net and lands in this guy's lap. And the guy hands it to the person next to him instead of giving it to the kid that banged on the glass to try to get the puck for himself. Well, anyways, the fans start booing this guy. Good on those fans. Like that. There's nothing more fun other than watching your team win than when somebody does something. And I've been to games where things like this have happened, where everybody's like, okay, screw that guy. We're going to boo him. Like whatever's going on in the game, that's separate. Screw that guy. They're booing him. The kid is like doing crowd work, like talking crap to the guy. He's old enough to hold his own to talk crap to this guy. Anyways, one of the wife and girlfriend members, so they're called WAGs in the NHL. I'm sure other leagues call them WAGs too. So a wife or girlfriend of one of the Penguins players brings down a signed puck to the kid and hands it to him. And everybody starts cheering. Now you got other fans like still talking trash to this guy, this old man. and he just absolutely what do they call it, Josh? Crashes out, kind of. Uh, just berates the mom of this boy, and as he's leaving, gives her a double bird. Like they were giving it back to him, but still, like you were in the wrong, dude. You were most definitely in the wrong. You can't take a puck from a kid and then try to play victim.
He was going to get it signed for him.
Wait, what?
He was going to get the puck signed for the kid. He knew a guy. He knew a guy.
Yeah,
the wag ruined the feel good story.
What? No. Am I supposed to believe that? I don't believe that one bit.
Hey, that's his story. He's sticking to it.
If that's the case, all right. I take my licks. People boo me. Just give the puck to the kid. Like he doesn't care about getting it signed. This guy says, "Oh, I was going to get it signed." No, like
no, I was joking.
Oh, gosh.
See, but it was believable enough. He should have used it. He should have used it.
But I mean, come on, be better, people. Just if you catch a ball, give it to a kid. Catch a puck, give it to a kid. You don't need that puck. You don't need that ball. I've caught balls and I don't need them. What am I going to do? Put a ball up on my mantle? You know, what's that guy's name that goes around all the MLB stadiums and catches the balls? Zach Campbell. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
Oh, Josh. You need to go watch it. You need to go watch Zach Campbell. This guy is the most absurd guy in the world. He has gone around to every MLB stadium, and he keeps track of all the balls that he catches. He catches balls during batting practice. He gets balls thrown up to him during warm-ups. He catches foul balls. He like brings a glove. He like sprints, knocks kids over to catch balls. And he films it and puts it on his YouTube channel and monetizes it.
Sounds like my kind of guy, man.
Like, I get it. You do you. Everybody's got their thing. And I'll give it to him. Like, he does give balls away at times, but like just the way that he does it, and he can be kind of an asshole about it. I know that there was like a thing here recently, probably a year or two ago, where he got like banned from a stadium because like he disrespected an usher and like was like, "Don't you know who I am?" And they were like, "Yeah, everybody knows who you are and everybody hates you." But yeah, Zach Campbell, go watch some of his videos. Like, it's beautifully cringeworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, this is a grown-ass man that's knocking kids over to catch a foul ball at a game that's in April. Nobody cares. But he caught like A-Rod's like 500th home run or something like that. Like, he's caught some like big home run balls. And then like he's kind of a dick when it comes to, hey, the player wants that ball back. He can be kind of a dick sometimes about it. Like, get yours. I'm all about getting yours. But like, you're Zach Campbell. Like, you can give the ball back. Have some respect for the game. All right. Gambling corner. What we got, Josh?
We got a good slate. First game, Baltimore and Buffalo. NFL action this week. Baltimore is favored to win this game on the road. Buffalo is only plus 1.5 points as the underdog. The over-under is 51.5. I don't believe in Josh Allen, and I know that's whatever. But I also don't believe in the Ravens if it's snowing.
Fair, fair.
I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but in Lamar we trust. Taking Baltimore.
The I watched part of that Ravens game over the weekend, and that one drive they had that one drive where they didn't throw the ball at all.
Right.
It was just okay. We're gonna turn it around. Derrick Henry. Oh, we're gonna drop back. Okay, Lamar run. We're gonna hand the ball. We're gonna hand the ball off. And the fact that they weren't able to be stopped and they just ran it the entire game. And it's not like Lamar can't throw the ball. He can throw the ball. This offense has a chance to be deadly with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Yeah, I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like. I can look it up, I guess. This game's in Baltimore.
It's in Buffalo.
Okay. The bees were throwing me off. I was reading it as Buffalo at Baltimore. Buffalo, what the game's what? Sunday?
Sunday.
All right. Sunday, the what time's the game?
This is the 4:00, I'm guessing.
The feels like temperature at I think this is feels like 17 degrees, so not terrible for Buffalo. There's a low of 10 degrees on Sunday in Buffalo. High at 22. No snow.
No, there's snow.
There's gonna be snow, but I'm seeing there's no. It's gonna be cloudy on Sunday. Now there's like a 10% chance of precipitation at 5 p.m. It's not gonna be like a like blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna be cold
and windy.
Speaking of which, here in Winston-Salem next week, on Monday the high is 26 degrees. So you taking Baltimore?
I am taking Baltimore, and I'm going to go ahead and take the over. 51.5, taking the over.
I am also going to take Baltimore. I am going to take the over. Look, Buffalo's a good team. I think that the curse lives on. There's something with them.
Maybe when they get the new stadium.
The fact that they're building that stadium and it's not a dome is absolutely wild.
It acts like a dome. It identifies as a dome. Next game on the docket, we got the Los Angeles Rams on the road visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. This one's a little bit more of a spread here. The Eagles are a 6.5-point home favorite, but the Rams did just dismantle the 14-3 Minnesota Vikings.
Look, the NFC North. Now we'll see what happens with the Lions. I think the Lions are the real deal. But Minnesota and Green Bay did not look like they were worth a damn. Like they need. I'm surprised people like the college football pundits and the NFL pundits haven't started talking about, hey, we need to go back to a 4-team playoff because they didn't belong in that playoff. They're the Indianas and the SMUs of the NFL. No. Look, I'm gonna take the Eagles. I think that the Eagles are, as much as it pains me to say that, I think that they may be the best team in the NFC. I think it's going to be Eagles Lions. As much as I would love for an Eagles Commanders conference championship game, I think that would be absolutely electric. I would love, like, out of the teams that are left, I would love to see the Commanders kind of go on a run.
For sure.
Like,
For sure.
I give me a Commanders Ravens Super Bowl. I hate DC. I hate DC with a passion. DC sports.
The state of Maryland would go crazy.
Exactly. That'd
I
be
would,
wild.
I would honestly probably go to Maryland just to be in that atmosphere for the
Yeah.
while the teams are playing in New Orleans, I guess. This year.
Yeah, I think it's in New Orleans. The Super Bowl. Yeah, it's in New Orleans.
Yeah. Let's
If you know somebody that's wanting to advertise it at the Super Bowl, let me know. But no, Philly, and I'm gonna take. I really want to take. I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah, okay, you're gonna take the under. I'm gonna have to go Philly as well, and the over. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are a very stoppable beast. It's just the Rams won't do it. The Rams won't do it.
Yeah, lots of good games this weekend.
Lots of good games. Hey, full slate of games. I'll post my picks this week. I posted my stats for the college football playoff. If I had bet all that stuff, I went undefeated in wild card weekend in NFL on my parlay. So I'll drop what I'm gonna do this week. That's all you get for free on the show. So next up,
If we're being honest, Chiefs, Lions, Eagles, Ravens.
yeah.
I really want Washington to do well.
Same.
Considering they basically ended the Falcons season earlier this year, so
next up, we got the national championship game happening on next Monday. Monday. Ohio State University versus the Notre Dame. Notre Dame is an 8.5 point underdog. The over under is 46.5. I know. Last week, we all said who we wanted to win. And I believe, Jared, you said Ohio State, right?
I'm pretty sure I said Ohio State, and I think I said Notre Dame.
Right. I did say Notre Dame, and I said Texas. So we're 50-50 there. But this week, I'm going to have to go with Notre Dame because I do not like Ohio State, and it's just on the principle. And with that, it's going to be the under because that's the only way this happens.
If you had asked me early December, mid-December, if you told me Ohio State Notre Dame is the national championship game, I would have probably laughed at you. And then I would have also said, okay, well, that's not going to be a competitive game. That's not going to be a fun game to watch. Ohio State's going to absolutely mop the floor with Notre Dame. Notre Dame looks menacing. Here's what I'll say. My heart tells me Notre Dame. My head tells me Ohio State. I'm going to go. It's probably dumb of me. I'm going to go with my heart. I think Notre Dame wins a national championship. I think Notre Dame. Josh, tell me about this storyline. Notre Dame wins a national championship. I know we had a conversation a while back in the group chat. If Ryan Day doesn't win this game, is he fired? I mean, it sounds crazy. It does. But imagine the storyline. Notre Dame gets beat by an Ohio State alumni that has coached in the state of Ohio before. He was at Cincinnati. Now he's at Notre Dame. And they fire Ryan Day. And then they bring in Freeman from Notre Dame.
You know,
what a storyline.
What a storyline. What a storyline.
I don't think it happens, but that would be that is college football.
Yeah, I do not think that Marcus Freeman would even entertain.
You don't think he entertains it to go back to his alma mater?
No.
He got his national championship. Okay, now I'm going to go do this at my alma mater.
You know, that sounds great. No. I don't think
be a hell of a storyline.
It would be a great storyline. There's Notre Dame can provide something that no other school can currently provide. That is 100% of the keep when you make it to the playoffs and you win the games. I mean, this is a money glitch. This is a money glitch for Notre Dame right now. Marcus Freeman's not dumb. Marcus Freeman's not dumb. The same amount of money that Ohio State is going to get at this, or as of today, same amount of money that Notre Dame is going to get, except for Ohio State has to split it with everybody else in the conference. Notre Dame gets to keep all of it. I'm not. Because just off of this one season, think about the windfall off of this one season for Notre Dame. Biggest fundraising event ever.
Yeah. I mean, they made $18 million for winning their game against Georgia, and they got to keep it all. Just looking ahead, Josh, real quick. You know what week 1 of next year is? You know who plays?
Not off the top of my head.
Texas, Ohio State. That's week 1.
Rematch with Quinn Ewers now out of the picture.
Yeah, I was about to say. It's gonna be an interesting week 1 next year. I'm trying to see, like, are there any other games like announced? You can't just look by week 1. That sucks. ECU, NC State, week 1. The only game that matters.
True.
Only game that matters. All right. I don't got anything else. You got anything else?
Yeah, Fresno State, Kansas, week 0. Stanford at Hawaii, week 0. Those are going to be the matchups to watch. And why is Iowa State, Kansas State going to Ireland? I don't know.
Wait, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Ireland?
You heard it right. Week 0. Starting the year out strong. I mean, Georgia Tech and Florida State win. I guess it doesn't. I guess they're just giving them.
But that one at least makes a little bit more sense. Like I don't know.
State makes sense. Florida State and Ireland makes sense.
Look, the ACC and Ireland makes sense. Taking 2 schools from Middle America, from states that honestly, if you ask somebody in Ireland, point on a map or tell me where do you think, in a general vicinity, where do you think Kansas is? They'd probably say, what state's that in? And then you get into the whole conversation. Well, Kansas City is in Missouri. Geography's weird, man. Any other games in Ireland next year?
No, but App State plays Charlotte in
Bank of America.
week 1.
That's going to be. I did want real quick before we go.
You still connected?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I missed everything you said. Yeah, I heard one thing before we go, and then it went out.
We didn't even talk about Deshaun Purdy. That could be a walk the plank too.
Yeah, that could be.
That's rough. Dude thought he was going to be the starter at Florida after having a mediocre freshman season. I mean, he was good. Don't get me wrong. But you were on one of the worst teams in college football. Your team fired your coach, and you left, and you thought you were going to be the starter at an SEC school over what's Lagway, a senior? Sophomore?
Oh, he was a freshman this year. Yeah,
was he? Yeah. For some reason, I've just heard his name so much. I felt like he'd been there forever.
Exactly.
No, okay. You're not starting over him. And that's the problem with these NIL agents. I've seen it, a lot of it lately. Some of these NIL agents are batshit crazy with what they're telling these kids. Yeah, and it's sad that that's how they're making their money. Whatever. All right. I'm sure everybody saw. We won't talk much about it, but we are launching a website soon. If you're interested in joining the Boneyard podcast team and maybe want to contribute to our website, let us know. We're accepting applications. I've been talking already to some people that are interested. Yeah, I mean, once again, this is fan-led content. That's what we do. If you're interested, hit us up, DM us on social media at Boneyard Podcast. Also, if you are or know of a graphic designer, we're looking for one. Send them our way. We have some work that we want to get done, and we would like it to be done by a pirate. If not, we have other people that we can lean on, but we would like these designs to be done by a pirate, and eventually those designs will be our first line of merch that the Boneyard Podcast is going to drop at some point. So stay tuned on more information to come on that. I believe that the website will be ready to go by baseball season. So yeah, exciting things. Let us know if you want to join the team. Join the ship now. I'm excited about the crew that we've got. All right. Leave us a 5-star review wherever you watch or listen to the Boneyard Podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. If you don't, walk the damn plank. And then subscribe to our YouTube. If you don't, walk the damn plank. And then follow us on all of our social medias at Boneyard Podcast, at the Boneyard Podcast on TikTok. Shout out to my co-host Artie, who wasn't able to be here this week. He's under the weather. Shout out to you, Josh. Any final words from you before we get out of here?
That's the last time we'll say at the Boneyard Podcast on TikTok. Rest in peace in the arms of the angel of our
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, don't follow us on TikTok if you're listening to this on the 20th and TikTok's no longer a thing. Don't worry about following us. But if you still got TikTok and you're like, hey, if you're in China and you're like, hey, I want to follow somebody, hit us up. That's all I got. Love you, Pirate Nation. Go damn Pirates. We out.